Today we'll be going over the BMW E30 projector options that we offer. We now offer a kit that you can self-install, or we'll offer the services for you if you'd like us to set it up. Now, these are the Euro projector headlights, often referred to as the Smiley. You can see it's got the cutout underneath the projector. Those are made by Hella. There is also a US version, and then a depot version, which is the aftermarket version. Now, typically that all doesn't really matter unless you're an extreme enthusiast and you want to get the Hella versions. Those are obviously the nicest and probably the most rarest ones, but if you don't want to pay a premium and you want to use the depot ones, it's probably totally fine because you'll be changing out the optics anyway. I don't know how the optics are on the depot ones. We haven't had any to test, but usually aftermarket, it does suffer a little bit in terms of overall beam quality. So in this case, the projector option will take care of the beam, assuming the glass is optically clear. But this is the Euro Smiley, the Euro projector headlights. And this kit that we offer, it comes with some hardware that's not shown here. It's got some metal adapter plates and a plate that'll replace the original projector back housing, essentially, where the projector kind of gets seated. We'll show you that in just a moment. And this is the MLED option. The MLED is a Bi-LED projector. You can read more about the projector and its beam characteristics, its intensity, everything about it on the website in the individual product listing. We also have a lot of good videos regarding the Morimoto Bi-LED. It's definitely one of the best and best optimized projectors. But we also have a Bi-Xenon option if you want to stick with HID. So the Bi-LED option will come in only one color temperature. It's rated at 5500 Kelvin. It's not super cool white like a lot of the other aftermarket projectors are. However, it definitely has a tinge of, like a cool white nature to it. Now, if you want to go with the Bi-Xenon version, which we're not going over today, but the process is extremely similar, costs overall are fairly similar, you will have the option of going with a warm white, a neutral white, or a cool white HID bulb. And if you want to fly under the radar, you can definitely get a warmer light output to your beam on your E30. But we'll update you in just a moment, and we'll show you how everything is coming together. But essentially, this is the projector. These are the adapter brackets and plates, and they will go on the back of this projector. So we'll be doing this together, essentially. The first step is removing the 3 Phillips head screws, holding on the back of that projector, and that's what will allow the adapter to fit on the back. And there'll be some trimmings to do on the inside to get everything seated, and we'll show you how that works. Okay, we've got one side completed, which is right over here. And we've got the other side kind of apart and ready to show you how things start coming together. Once you take off the original projector, which I've got actually right here, if you guys remember back in the day, people would go crazy over these E30 clear lenses. You'd put them in S2000s, TSX, RX 330s. That was like the gold standard. Anyway, that is the projector, but it's also sort of the rear cap. There's a bunch of material that you need to sand down with a drum sander. This isn't rocket science. I'm not going to go over with you how to use a drum sander, but just make it flush and flat, essentially. And then you are left with the mounting plate, the kind of the back housing, and then you have the mounting plate. This mounting plate has 3 screws in it, and that's what the MLED actually screws into. So the MLED uses a removable threaded shaft that we're not picturing right here, but you loosen it up, it comes with the hardware, and you will be able to bolt it right into this metal plate. The MLED also comes with this wire that is situated right over here. You unplug it from the side of the projector, you unscrew it from this little mounting bracket, and you are able to then pass through the grommet that comes on the cable through the metal plate. You add on the bolt-on breather. It's an additional breather so the light can breathe. And you will be able to then screw this onto here. We used a little black Permatex silicone. It's still drying. And you'll be able to use silicone on the bottom of this base as well before you screw it onto here. And that way there's a nice seal right in this area, right on the lip, essentially, okay? This isn't, you know, a full-on comprehensive DIY, but there are instructions as well that we can provide you. This is a really easy-going retrofit. It's not super complicated, and you can do this at home if you want. Some people prefer that we do it, and we're happy to provide the service at a very reasonable cost. Anyway, the MLED comes with the standard, what we call the G5 bolt pattern, which essentially means it's a mounting bracket, and that comes between the two halves of the MLED projector. Also, if you take a look here, we've got that little kind of spacer essentially. That is what takes place of this bracket. So this bracket gets removed. Within the kit, you have the spacer that gets installed there, and that way you can clear this whole, you know, opening without needing to worry about trimming this guy. Okay. So you put that on, you screw it back into there, use a little silicone, and you'll be able to get this installed very, very easily. But this is what it looks like all said and done. On the US cars, they come with 9006, 9005. So this is direct plug and play on the E30 models for the BMWs. And we'll show you how it looks once it's on and installed. We'll do a quick comparison between the original H1 Euro projector by Hella and the new Morimoto MLED in just a moment. But that's essentially what you can expect. And we'll show you right before it goes in once how this is all mounted together at the next phase. But right after that, we'll show you a comparison. Okay, we've got this other side ready to plop in now. You can see why that bracket is needed to be removed, that original center plate. You're literally just on the cusp of fitment if you didn't remove that. And this mounts up sort of like a threaded shaft retrofit in the sense of it bolts right up to something. So this is the first time I've seen those, you know, the removable threaded shaft, the mounting points mount up now to a plate, which is a really interesting design here. You can see this piece has been 3D printed with that metal adapter plate essentially. It's what's holding the MLED up with those 3 screws. Luckily, it's not too heavy of a setup and everything seems really solid. We did use a little bit of silicone. Anywhere essentially where there is a gap of any kind or a screw on this back portion. And again, black Permatex works wonders. You can see it if we zoom into there. So it's on the back of the MLED. We haven't placed any yet on this lip, but we'll put some on that lip before it slips into the back of the E30 headlight assemblies. But that's in short of how this all goes together. Your final result will be something like that. Now let's get to the performance differences. Okay, here we've got the original H1 Hella Euro projector up top. It's got that clear lens. I mean, that is really, really crisp for projector, especially halogen projector. It's nice to see that because we don't really see that too much in halogen projectors, but they used to come this way essentially. So really cool to see. But you can see how tight that hotspot is. It'll give you pretty narrow field of vision because you really don't have anything to the sides. I mean, it pretty much, it's like it spans half this wall, and this wall is only 19 feet wide and we're exactly 25 feet away. So very, very center weighted light projection and beam distribution just in general. I assume it's going to be pretty bright right at the hotspot and the intensity zone, which we'll check out. You can see it's got that typical Euro kick up, and I was doing some research and I saw, you know, E30 community, really, they were actually pleasantly surprised and happy with this Euro light upgrade. Because of the kick up, they considered it a nice upgrade, but you know, that kick up is actually, in my opinion, a little bit annoying. It's really high. It's like a straight 45-degree angle, especially when you put brighter headlight assemblies in or brighter bulbs or whatever you're using. Let's say you put an HID system in, that kick up, you'll probably be blinding people essentially. So not ideal, but maybe for its time, it was a good choice. Excuse me. Besides that, that's the MLED on the bottom, obviously. Check out the intensity zone. I mean, it's twice or maybe 3 times the size. The camera's picking it up a little bit differently than what I'm seeing, but I'm seeing a much larger intensity zone. And it's a lot tighter to the the cutoff. It doesn't quite go as low. So I think you'll have better foreground in the sense of you won't have as much foreground, but the MLED, again, it's really well optimized. It doesn't have a lot of foreground for a LED projector in terms of the modern aftermarket options. And overall, what I love about the MLED in this case is that it's got a slope cutoff. It's not quite as tall, but it's still about 45 degrees. So similar, but way shorter, easier to dial in. Overall, just a massive, massive difference in terms of performance and beam distribution. And we'll get into the lux readings next. Okay, we've got the halogen H1 by itself up against the wall so we can analyze it a little bit better. Get a quick lux reading. Lux is the intensity reading at 25 feet. We've got a meter. And yeah, check out that color band for halogen projector, really awesome. But this came in at about 540, 530 lux, right under the cutoff, which is right where you want it. Overall, very solid and quite bright, but again, center focused. So it's not always about the intensity, it's about how far it goes. And if you watch enough of our videos, you see most light sources actually make it to the width of the wall, but this is really, really narrow. And that's where the MLED is going to shine. Okay, now here's the MLED 2.0. And before, when we had both projectors on, the camera picks it up way different. Now that it's on by itself, you can really see how the camera's picking it up. You can see the true intensity zone. And this is cool too, because again, you can see how colorful this cutoff is, just like the original one. So there's a lot of purists that want to keep things as OEM as possible. Obviously, this is deviating from it a little bit. You're using modern technology in an older car, but you're doing it in a really clean fashion. And this is really, really well optimized overall and super bright, really good intensity. Yeah, I wish we had a larger warehouse and larger area to show you, but this will have to do for now. And let me change the meter. So yeah, this is a ridiculous jump up in terms of sheer intensity. I mean, we're hitting double levels here, a little over double. But again, that's just one measure, and that's the intensity reading. But if we had the ability to show you, I think it's safe to say that the intensity readings all throughout the beam pattern will be much brighter, not just in one central point or right at the hot spot. So you gain a lot of width and an overall superior beam distribution. That's what this is all about, upgrading your projector headlights with a solution that's modern and that looks good and that performs well. It's not always about just looking good. There's a lot of products that look good, but they perform like crap, and this is where we come in and we'll offer you a much better solution. So hopefully this was helpful. Let us know if you have any questions, leave a comment below, email us, we'll leave a description to the product, and we can go from there.